When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Welcome to In Transit for this Wednesday, and we take a look at public transit today. L'STM vous souhaite la bienvenue à bord, right? That's how we start off our In Transit segments. Well, it's tough to welcome people aboard if the trains aren't running at all. So today we're going to look at a couple of issues. One, delays with major projects, right? There are growing calls there are growing calls about the delays with the Orange Line extension, right? And we all know how long we've had to wait for the Blue Line. People are worried that we're going to see a repeat. 30 or 40 years of waiting for an Orange Line extension. But then let's talk about cutbacks, right? Also big news this week that the SDM has found $18 million to cut, but they say service won't be affected. Let's go now to Sophie Mauzerolle, who is a Montreal City Councillor in the Ville Marie borough and also on the executive committee responsible for transport. Sophie, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Elias.
So let's tackle this a couple of different ways. First things first, let's talk about the major projects, right? Like the Orange Line. You know, I remember growing up and they were talking about the Blue Line. I know it's now finally, they say it's really happening now, and I believe it that it's happening now, but that took forever, right? And I think there are a lot of worries that the Orange Line will be the same process, right? People waiting decades, not years, decades, to see something a lot of people say is needed. What's the progress here on the Orange Line extension?
Well, there's been an announcement from the government of Quebec 9 months ago, hoping to open a project bureau for the extension of the Orange Line. And as of now, there hasn't been a formal mandate to the ARTM, which is the Autorité Régionale. Of course, in Montreal, we're really hoping for the development of new projects, of new public transit projects. You've said it. We've waited for 25 years for the Blue Line extension, and we cannot wait that much for projects. In fact, we should speed up the pace, develop more efficient options. If we want to, we have ambitious objective in terms of modal shift in GHG reduction. And if we want to encourage some people to leave their car behind, well, we have to offer them options that are efficient. So this is, for us in Montreal, we really want more transit projects to be analyzed and implemented at the same time. We shouldn't have to wait for one project to be completed before we start the new one. So we're really hoping that we're going to go faster with the development of the Orange Line. And for projects to happen, everyone needs to be on the same page. Do you have a worry that right now, when it comes to public transit, perhaps people aren't on the same page? You know, I look at the provincial government, and they're so laser focused on REM. You know, what are we going to do when we want to expand? It's got to be a REM. It's a REM line. It's a REM line. And do you worry that because of their focus on REM and REM line extensions, that something like the Orange Line, which a lot of people say if you could turn the Orange Line into a loop, right, that goes all the way and connects with the other end, boy, it would be a game changer for public transit. Do you worry that the priorities of the provincial government are not aligned with the priorities of the municipal government? I don't think so. The thing is, we have a lot of priorities. Of course, if we want to develop the east of the city, we need to have a public transit project going to the east. So the REM is really important, but we shouldn't, as I was saying, wait for one project to be done to start a new one. We have needs everywhere in the city, and it's not only for Montrealers, but we're the metropolis. So we have to, I think that we have to expect more projects to be, as I was saying, analyzed and implemented. Of course, this is going to need funding too, if we want to build new projects, but also ensure that our current infrastructures can be operated and maintained. So we're doing our part. We're working really hard, for instance, with the SPM to find solutions, but we're really hoping that everybody's going to be at the same page for public transit, because it's really important for the mobility of people, but it's also a leverage for development. As we're seeing with the Blue Line, we're hoping to densify areas, to create economic growth. So public transit is really great for the mobility of people, as I was saying, but also for the development of our city. So we're really hoping that we're not going to have to wait another 25 years before we're moving forward with the Orange Line, but also with the REM in the Est and other projects that we want to see through.
With Sophie Mauzerolle from Montreal City Hall, a councillor in the Ville Marie borough, and is on the executive committee with regards to transport. So, Sophie, there's also the matter of timing, okay? So everyone knows that usage of public transit has declined, okay? And we can say it's because of the way people are working now is different. Not as many people are going into the office. We've seen the declines, especially during the week, Monday through Friday, okay? Mm-hmm. With that in mind, the STM has made significant cuts to service. And I think there are some people saying, whoa, before we start talking about even more projects, why don't we just make sure the infrastructure and what we have in place now has an exemplary level of service? When we talk about doing extensions and other things, isn't that too early when we have a lack right now of just day-to-day service, buses and metros?
Well, we need to do both. As I was saying, clearly we have to have funding and we have to review the whole financing model of public transit. And we're happy that the Minister of Transport in Quebec shares this desire. She wants to find solution. We'll be at the table. We need to do both. We need to address the issue that are ongoing right now, and we obviously don't want service cuts. This is the last thing that we want. But then again, if we want to reduce traffic, if we want people to choose public transit, if we want to use public transit as the motor of development, we also have to have new projects. So it's a bundle. We have to see both parts, and we have to work both parts at the same time. Now,
I hear the STM has managed to find $18 million to cut from their budget, but that won't affect service this time. We've seen just how much service has been affected here. But when it comes to that, service cuts at the STM, as we get through this year and move towards next year, are other service cuts going to be necessary, keeping in mind budgets?
Well, this is the last thing that we want to do. And, the STM has done a thorough job to, reorganize work shifts, to have less overtime, for instance, to find millions of dollars. So the STM has done its part. The City of Montreal has done its part. And we're talking about the STM, but transit authorities across Quebec are facing those deficits. And we really need to go through a complete overhaul of the way that they are funded. So, the city has done its part. The STM worked hard. We're talking with the RSTM, but of course we really need other level of government to work with us to review the financing model to ensure that we don't have service cuts, that we have an efficient system going on, but that we are also able to develop and fund new projects as well.
Sophie, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you for coming back on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Sophie Mauzerolle is a city councillor in the Ville Marie borough and also on the executive committee in the City of Montreal for issues related to transport.